Hi guys, it's Lori the Frugal Mom. I know you know that because you're here. I'm just getting ready for bed. It's a little bit later than I wanted it to be, but I'm feeling kind of sad. Unfortunately, last night, my aunt TC passed away. Her name was Teresa, and her brothers affectionately called her TC. Um, I believe it's because they couldn't pronounce Teresa. So, yeah, that happened last night. And she had been sick for a very long time with a number of different health issues. And, she did smoke, which isn't great for it. She did maybe drink a little bit more than she should have at times in her youth. But, nonetheless, we do have chronic health situations that run in our family. And she was no different than me. We're all afflicted by something. Um, and some of us have multiple things. So she's been through it, I would say, the last 20 to 25 years of her life. She's had lots of different surgeries. And her poor body just couldn't keep up with it anymore. So unfortunately, yesterday she had a massive heart attack. And she did sign a DNR because, she was tired. She didn't want to be put through it anymore. She didn't want to have any more surgeries, and I completely understand that. There just gets to be a point in life where you're just over it. You don't want to suffer anymore. In the last 6 months for her, they're extremely difficult. She had been in and out of rehab and hospitals, and just, she admitted it to me that she admitted to me that everything was getting kind of heavy for her, and she was weary, probably about a month or so ago. We had a good conversation probably about 3 weeks ago, and every time we were on the phone, it tended to stretch into hours, and that's okay. It happens. I love talking to her. She's a great storyteller. We've become quite close in the three and a half years since we got reacquainted with each other. We were estranged for a while, but not because we were mad or any family feudish kind of things. Just sort of life happened, and we kind of just grew away from each other. I wasn't raised with my father's family because he passed away when I was 4. So that was part of it. That's a video for another day. But I was very glad that I got in touch with my dad's family again. The relationship that I had with my aunt, it was a very valuable one to me. I felt very close to her. She was a strong woman. She could be a little bit abrasive in attitude. But, once you knew her really well, you just knew that was kind of like an exterior. She had, rough spots in her childhood, things that weren't pleasant she had to deal with. I won't get too into it, heartaches in life like all of us. And that rough exterior, I guess, it helped protect her from a lot of life's hurts. But, underneath it all, those of us who she loved, and we loved her, we knew that, that rough exterior, underneath that all, she just loved us. And she would fight fiercely for you, and she would defend you, and she would advocate for you. And all the rest about her personality, you just kind of let it fall to the side, She could be a little outlandish with some of the things that she said, and that's okay. Everybody's got a personality, and we're all allowed to be who we are, And that's the thing with people that you love, you got to meet people where they are. Nobody's perfect, and she didn't have to be because, she was undeniably herself. They broke the mold when they made her, and she was someone who fiercely loved who she loved, and you don't get that nowadays too much. So, she was an amazing person, and she was kind of like a mom to all from what I learned from my cousins and the things that she told me. Over the past 3 years, I've enjoyed having lots of conversations with her, about her and my uncles and my dad growing up. Lots of funny stories. Um, my dad was the oldest, and she was the third born. And then I have another two uncles that are younger after. Um, yeah, so lots of good stories. She told me a lot of things about my dad that I didn't know. It's been very hard, growing up without my dad and not having him for very long before God took him, so, it was like getting to know my aunt, my uncles, and my family. It's like I had pieces of him back. These people are the ones who grew up with him and knew him best, I think. My grandparents, they've been gone for a pretty long time, almost as long as my mom. And, it's just hard as they pass away. It's sort of like pieces of him, or more pieces of him, I should say, are going when they pass. So I guess that makes it especially hard for me and poignant. And also because she dealt with so many different health issues. She understood what I go through. And believe me, nothing that I deal with, as bad as it gets at times, is as severe as some of the things that she's dealt with, especially, I would say, in the past 5 to 10 years. She was wheelchair bound, lots of different things, and I won't go into them all now, but I have enormous respect for how strong she was. But like I said, she would never judge me, and I could always talk to her about it. I could always tell her how I was feeling. I always discuss things that were going on with my kids, and I could always trust her to give me her 100% honest, unfiltered opinion, for sure. And we would text each other at odd hours of the night because we knew that, both of us tended to be night owls, or we couldn't sleep for one reason or another. Either something was bothering us physically, or, you just can't sleep for whatever reason. So it wouldn't be unusual for me to wake up in the middle of the night if I couldn't get back to sleep, and I'd check my phone, there'd be a text from her. And she said, just don't worry about what time of day it is, just text me back. The texts have become less frequent over the past couple of months because she's not been well. And I guess it was just her time to go home. But I know in my heart that she was greeted at the gates of heaven, not only by Jesus himself, but my Nana and my dad and my uncle and everyone else that she loved that she was missing. So that I try to take comfort in. But last night, after my cousin called me to tell me, it just seemed very strange when I got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and there was no text waiting there from her. So it's going to take a little while to get used to that absence. I still have some of her voicemails and I cherish them. And, I only have one picture of us together when I went to go visit her with Steve last summer. I was wishing that I could get back there again, and, it just never happened. She lives about 2-3 hours away from me, and, money being tight, it's hard to, finance that kind of a trip. So I am very grateful for the time that I did have with her last summer. Our visit must have been, like 6-7 hours long. And that's time that I'll always cherish. And I know that she'll watch out for me and my children and hers and everybody that she loved. She had a great big heart and she loved a lot of people. And because of that, a lot of people loved her. And at the end of the day, that's a life that was well lived. So, rest in peace, Auntie. Thank you for listening, guys. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.